It started as an ordinary day, but what happened next shocked an entire community. A young black girl, full of dreams and hopes, was caught in a moment of sheer injustice when a police officer's actions crossed the line. But this isn't just another story of police misconduct. It's about what happens when someone refuses to stay silent. Enter her father, an FBI agent with a reputation for uncovering the truth no matter the cost. As the incident unfolds, we follow his journey for justice, one that takes unexpected turns and reveals more than anyone could have anticipated. What he discovers changes everything and sets the stage for a reckoning that no one saw coming. Stay with us as we dive into a story of courage, resilience, and an epic fight for justice that you won't want to miss. The father, Agent Marcus Reed, had always been dedicated to his work, but nothing could have prepared him for this personal battle. His daughter, Maya, was just walking home from school when the confrontation with the police happened. Witnesses described the scene as chaotic, an officer approaching Maya, voices raised, and then, shockingly, a punch thrown. The video footage soon surfaced online, sparking outrage and disbelief. But this wasn't just about one moment. As Marcus dug deeper, he began to uncover a troubling pattern of behavior within the local police department. Reports of excessive force, particularly against minority communities, painted a grim picture. Each piece of evidence added another layer to the mystery, making it clear that this wasn't an isolated incident. Determined to get to the bottom of it, Marcus knew he couldn't rely on the system that failed his daughter. What he found next would set the stage for a confrontation like no other. As Marcus pieced together the evidence, he couldn't ignore the growing number of voices sharing similar stories. Community members, who had once been silent out of fear, started to come forward, revealing a deep-rooted problem within the police force. Each testimony painted a picture of intimidation and unchecked power, especially towards people of color. The more he listened, the clearer it became. This was bigger than just his daughter. Meanwhile, within the police department, tensions were rising. Officers loyal to the old ways of operating began feeling the pressure of the growing scrutiny. Some were worried about what might come to light, while others dismissed the concerns, confident nothing would change. But not everyone was on the same side. A few brave officers, tired of the corruption, secretly reached out to Marcus, willing to help expose the truth. As the community rallied, Marcus knew he was walking a dangerous line. He had to protect his family, seek justice for Maya, and navigate the thin line between ally and enemy within the very system he once trusted. The stakes were higher than ever, and the conflict was far from over. The walls were closing in. Marcus could feel it every time he stepped into his own home. His family was constantly on edge. Maya, once full of life and laughter, was withdrawn, traumatized by what had happened. Her trust in the system had been shattered, and no matter how much Marcus tried to reassure her, the damage was done. Meanwhile, the pressure from his superiors at the FBI was mounting. They wanted him to drop the case, to let it go and avoid drawing too much attention to the department. But Marcus couldn't back down. With every new piece of information he uncovered, he realized how deep the corruption ran. The case against the officer who hit Maya was beginning to unravel, and it seemed like the department was trying to cover their tracks, hiding crucial evidence and suppressing witnesses. Marcus had to decide how far he was willing to go. Was he prepared to risk everything, including his career, to expose the truth? Then came the phone call. A whistleblower inside the police department had gathered proof of a secret meeting among the higher-ups, where the plan to silence Maya's case was laid out. But before Marcus could act on the information, someone else was already watching him. The stakes had escalated, and Marcus had to make a choice: take the risk and fight back, or allow the corruption to continue unchecked. Time was running out, and soon he would have to face the consequences of his decision. As Marcus prepared to meet the whistleblower, a sense of dread filled the air. Something wasn't right. His instincts told him that the walls were closing in, but he couldn't yet grasp how far the web of deceit stretched. Just as he arrived at the agreed meeting spot, a sudden sharp noise broke the silence. Gunshots. He ducked instinctively, heart racing, as the sound echoed through the empty street. Someone was trying to stop him from uncovering the truth, and Marcus knew it wasn't a random attack. It was calculated. Someone wanted him gone before he could expose the department's darkest secrets. Shaken but determined, Marcus managed to escape the ambush, but the message was clear. The stakes had just been raised to a deadly level. As he regrouped and tried to connect the dots, his phone rang. An unexpected caller, his daughter Maya. Her voice trembled on the other end, and the words she spoke froze him in place. "Dad, they're watching me." The realization hit him like a thunderclap. The attack wasn't just about silencing him. It was about silencing Maya too. Whoever was behind this was willing to go to any lengths to keep their secrets buried. Now, Marcus faced a terrifying choice: continue the fight for justice at the risk of losing his daughter, or find a way to protect her from the storm that was brewing. But with every passing hour, it was becoming clearer. There was no way to walk away. The battle was on, and it was only going to get more dangerous. With the tension at its peak, Marcus knew he had no more time to waste. He had to act fast, not just for justice, but to keep Maya safe. Armed with the whistleblower's evidence, he made a final desperate move. A quiet meeting was set at an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. There, he planned to confront the corrupt officers involved and expose everything to the press. It was risky, but the only way to stop the cycle of violence and corruption was to make it public. As he walked into the warehouse, heart pounding, Marcus wasn't prepared for what he found. It wasn't just the officers he expected to see. Standing in the shadows, he saw someone much closer to him. His own partner from the FBI, Agent Simmons, stepped forward, a cold, calculating look in his eyes. Marcus froze. Simmons had been working behind the scenes with the police all along, feeding them information to protect the officers involved in the assault on Maya. "Did you really think you could expose us?" Simmons sneered, pulling out a file of documents that proved his role in orchestrating the entire cover-up. The betrayal hit hard, deeper than any attack from the corrupt officers. But just as Marcus began to process the shock, another twist came. The door slammed open, and Maya, with a determined look in her eyes, stepped inside. She'd been following her father's every move, quietly gathering evidence of her own, and now she held the ultimate trump card, an audio recording of a meeting between Simmons and the officers, clearly detailing the conspiracy. In that moment, Marcus realized that Maya had become a force in her own right, unwilling to let the injustice go unanswered. With the evidence now undeniable, the police had no choice but to act. Simmons was arrested, and the officers involved in the assault were finally held accountable. The road ahead wasn't easy, but Marcus knew they had won an important victory. As father and daughter walked out of the warehouse, their bond stronger than ever, they shared a quiet moment of triumph. But the look in Maya's eyes told him one last thing: this was just the beginning. There were still battles to fight, and they would face them together. As the dust settled, the community began to heal. The officers involved in the attack on Maya were removed from duty, and the department underwent a complete overhaul. Marcus and Maya, though scarred by the journey, found solace in knowing that their fight had sparked real change. The road to justice had been long and painful, but it had brought them